With the Monte Carlo programs, which I'll discuss later. So the last stable release was 3.8 in 2009. And there's still a Git repository. Somebody could start enhancing it with, but it would probably be better to start from scratch using a different paradigm. So now I'm going to show you some of the issues that face anybody this programming. So by reading, I mean search. In computer science it would be called search, but reading means that you envision future solutions in your mind, and you try to figure out what it can do. In chess programming, it was found that brute force search, that you search an enormous move tree. Evaluation of the terminal nodes in the tree is very easy, and so you can search an enormous tree, and you can basically find the best move by means of that. That was sufficient to be Garry Kasparov. That doesn't work in Go. The reason is that in Go, evaluation of the terminal nodes of the tree is already a difficult task. So at the terminal nodes of the tree, you will find that some of the groups on the board are alive, some of them are dead, and some of them are critical. If there's a critical group on the board, that means that life or death of that group depends upon who's plays next. It may even be that there are adjacent dragons, one of each color, which are both critical, and one of them is going to die, and one of them is going to survive. And this is called semi-I. So the decision as to whether a group is alive or dead or critical itself requires quite a bit of analysis. This means that the evaluation of the terminal nodes in the tree is not trivial. So I'm going to show you an example. So I asked GNUGO to evaluate the position in the upper left-hand corner. So this is a critical position. If white moves first, you can kill. If black moves first, then it's possible to live. So the variations form a tree, which is displayed down in the right-hand corner. So the very first move, if you want to kill, is this one. And once the stone is placed, there's no way to live. Black can try this way, but there's a reputation. And this group does not have two eyes, which, if you know the rules of the game, means that it's dead. And even if you don't know the rules of the game, it means that it's dead. So there's no way for this group to live. And the sequence of moves shows that. There's a variation. Instead of going here, black can try to go here, but that doesn't work either. On the other hand, if black plays first, this move performs two eyes. It carves out two separate eye spaces in the corner, and consequently, there's no way that this group can be killed. And so GNUGO can figure this out, not too inefficiently. But how does it do it? Well, it has to find the right move. So, for example, here, it has to find this move. And the comments here tell you what GNUGO did. So I wonder, is that very readable? Oh, okay, well, I'll show you what it says. So first it says A1303. Okay, so now if you look in the GNUGO source code, there are many patterns which are encoded graphically like this. These were written by hand, because then they're compiled to C. The X's mean black stones. The O's mean white stones. The question marks means that the color of the stone is irrelevant. The star is the move which is proposed by this pattern, and if this pattern is found, then that move will be tried, and that's what happened. So the problem with this is that all of these patterns were hand-coded by people that were analyzing those games, finding its mistakes, saying, well, this would play correctly if we change this pattern here. There's a test suite in which we run a bunch of tests. The things that have been fixed in the past, if something else we do breaks them, then tests are going to start failing, and we'll find out that there's something wrong with the pattern that we've added. And this is time-consuming, and there's also a limited success. That this is perhaps not the way it should be done. It went up to a point. Okay, so this is what I have to say about reading. The other thing I want to talk about is influence. I'm going to use one of the AlphaGo games in order to illustrate this concept. So the ability of a group to live inside some region depends a lot on the surroundings. If the opponent has a lot of walls in the vicinity of that stone, then it may be difficult to live. And so we have sort of an intuition that, let's take this in. This is a very AlphaGo Research game. Now I want to look at the bottom here. This region in the bottom is AlphaGo is white. White's influence in the bottom is very strong because it's completely surrounded by walls. Black could try to go in, and perhaps Black could make life with it, but it's very unlikely. Nevertheless, Lee Sedol invaded there, and this is because he knew that he was behind. He started to go in. And the fact that White's influence is so strong means that this is a very bold and courageous thing to do. So he makes a forcing movement, and AlphaGo doesn't even answer. It plays up here. The influence is so strong that it doesn't look like there's any way that Black can fight. Nevertheless, Black was able to make what's called a coup, which is a kind of a situation where the life or death depends upon the outcome of a fight that may normally involve other parts of the board. So this was quite a success for Lee Sedol, was to make this coup. Unfortunately, it wasn't good enough because he was not able to win the coup. When I say that a coup depends upon other things that happen in other parts of the board, the rule of coup, this stone has just been captured here. The rule of coup says that Black may not immediately recapture it. If he doesn't recapture it, Black can still there and win the situation. But since he cannot immediately capture it, the rule of coup says he has to do something else. So he goes over here. He makes a coup threat. A coup threat is a move in perhaps another part of the board, which has to be answered because the gain that he would get from killing something over there would be adequate compensation for losing the coup. So AlphaGo answers it, and so the coup fight continues. Unfortunately, AlphaGo had a local coup threat local to this situation, and Lee Sedol realized that he did not have enough coup threats outside, so he resigned. I'll digress a little bit to show you part of the game, but I want to make the point that influence, meaning sort of the sense that these white stones, I do this, you can see. These white stones sort of radiate a power that fills up the space. That's our intuition. Somehow, capturing that idea is an important issue in Go programming. So we need to have an influence function. So we'll go back to this. So the influence function first appeared in the very first program in 1968, this program of Albert Zilbich. And this is, maybe I can show you. Here I'm running Go, and I'm asking it to let you analysis and show me the results. So it generates a whole bunch of different diagrams, which this one shows the status of the groups, what it believes is alive or dead. It believes this group up in the upper corner is critical, but in fact, Lee Sedol is alive up there. Go has that evaluated wrong. This shows the influence, so you can see at the bottom here that so the influence is actually a number. The green is very strong influence, but then other colors, red means a low amount of influence. Yellow means a medium amount of influence. The influence function is intended to capture the intuition that these white stones are radiating some quality which controls whether it's possible for Black to live or die inside. Up until around 2006, all Go programs, we believe, work more or less the same way. Of course, we haven't seen the source code to the commercial programs, but we have some idea how they work. Really, I tried to show you that there's hand-coded patterns which determine the reading, and there's an influence function, and all of these programs probably are very similar in architecture. But then the Monte Carlo programs came on the scene. They still required a database, but they had much better success. And then very recently, the Monte Carlo methods have been supplemented by deep learning. Before I come back to these things, I'd like to mention a couple of things. Combinatorial game theory is sort of a digression because the ideas of combinatorial game theory haven't been very much applied within Go. Nevertheless, they're very good at analyzing dim games. Combinatorial game theory is a branch of mathematics. It was found in the first papers that I'm aware of. There was a paper by John Milner in 1953, and then John Harding Conway came on the scene and he developed it into a branch of mathematics. And so these books are quite excellent and well worth your time if you have to pick one up. I will mention that one of the hotbeds of Go developer development was the University of Alberta in Edmonton. Martin Muller was a postdoc in Berkeley working with Helen Berlekamp. He's a six-time Go player. And anyway, he went to Edmonton and he founded a research group, and a lot of good stuff has come out of there. In particular, the AlphaGo developers came out of Edmonton. They went to England and developed AlphaGo, but they got their start in Edmonton, and many other developers came out of there. So now I'm going to talk about Monte Carlo methods. So the idea of Monte Carlo search would be that instead of searching a limited move tree, spending a lot of time evaluating the terminal nodes, maybe you just read all the way out to the end of the game. At that point, there's no issue of life or death. So you don't have to waste time deciding whether a group is alive or dead, which if you make a mistake will invalidate your evaluation of the terminal node in the move tree. You just read it out to the end and then everything is obvious. The dead stones can even be removed from the board. So you sort of play not completely randomly, but you use a pattern matcher that is tuned for speed, and then you make many trials, and from the data that you collect, maybe you can figure out the best move. So the origin of the algorithm which is used now is called UCT1, and it addresses the following problem. Suppose that you have a large number of slot machines, and and they might not all be equal. Maybe some of them pay better than others. You want to figure out which ones you should be playing. So you want to play the one that seems to be winning. So clearly you should play the machine that gives you the best payoff. But the toughness factor decreases as you play a lot of, if you play that machine a lot. It decreases slowly enough that you're also playing the other machines. So this is called UCT1. And it can also be applied to tree search. Now this was first done by these Hungarian guys, whose names I would probably mispronounce. They were not interested in Go programming as far as I know, but they adapted the UCT algorithm to tree search. And then Sylvain Joly was, in his dissertation, applied this to Go, and this became a Renaissance thing. I see the sentence that's missing here. His dissertation also used reinforcement learning, which is a key principle in training neural nets. And then he went on to author a Go program called Mogo, and Mogo had some success. So in 2008, Mogo played a game with Yunhan Kim, who is a 9-gun professional. If you watched the videos of the AlphaGo match, there were 2 sets. One was commentated by Michael Redmond and Chris Garlick, but the one to watch was commentated by Yunhan Kim. So he's a professional Go player. He's a 9-gun, which means he has the highest rank that you can get. But he's still not quite at the top. He's not as strong as Lee Sedol, for example. He lives in Los Angeles and teaches, he lost by 1.5 points. He lost the 9-stone game to Mogo. 9-stone is a big handicap, so you can see from that statement how far we've come since 2008. And then just 3 years ago, a couple of Monte Carlo programs, Zen, which is offered in Japan, and Crazy Stone, which is offered in France, defeated a couple of the former world champions, Masaki Takahira and Yoshiro Ishida. Both were at the top of the Go scene, in the 1970s. And so although they're what my age or something, they're still considered top players. And at that point, it seemed, and in fact, just until a year ago, it seemed that the top programs were 4 stones weaker than the top professionals. The 4-stone handicap is a big handicap, but it's not so big that this wasn't impressive. It was very impressive. But nobody was prepared for the recent developments. Neural nets have had amazing success in the last 5 years in all sorts of things, such as image recognition and medical diagnostics the key to this have been faster processors, particularly the use of TPUs, which were designed originally to display computer graphics that were repurposed for training and evaluating neural nets. So I can give you another demonstration. And this is a neural net which actually is written in JavaScript that actually plays in the browser. So this is by some guys in Edmonton, Edinburgh, in Scotland. So this neural net has very good intuition. It plays on well. that if you play with it, you'll be surprised at how well it plays, given the fact that it's not doing any reading. In order to defeat it, you should start probably to make some trouble, and then it starts making mistakes. But in terms of playing the opening and developing influence and everything, it plays just amazingly well. It's written in JavaScript. You can go to GitHub and get the source code if you want to see it. So neural nets do a much better way of pattern recognition than you saw with Knugo. What did we do with Knugo? We have handwritten programs that handwritten patterns that were written by humans, and if a pattern is missing, then you have to code it by hand. In this case, what they did, and in the case of AlphaGo, what they did is that they trained the neural net by playing a lot of replaying a lot of professional games that they qualified. And in the case of AlphaGo, they did something else, which is they allowed the machine to play itself, and they used reinforcement learning in order to tune the neural net. So neural nets are amazing. They're also kind of scary. I mentioned some of the intangible things that are part of the art of playing Go. Vital points and tsuges are key points in a position. So you want to occupy the vital point. The relevant intuition is called shape, that you try to have good shape, but not only that, but timing is very important because you need to play the moves in exactly the right sequence. In certain situations, if you play things in the wrong order, then there will be a reputation. So it's a very delicate. The neural nets are, and also I mentioned fitness and the decision to sacrifice stones in order to gain fitness. These are all intangible things, but the neural nets are often able to find the right move. For example, the neural net that I just showed you, and obviously the ones that are used by AlphaGo. I should mention that Facebook also has a program which, as far as I know, has a similar architecture to AlphaGo, and is, perhaps a little bit behind AlphaGo. It plays on the KTS server. It was quite remarkable to see how fast it improved, and I think if AlphaGo had come on the scene, then maybe that course would take. So architecture is discussed in a Nature article. They have two neural networks. They have a slow policy network. This is good at choosing the moves. The rollout policy is not so good at finding the right moves, but it's very fast. And so for the Monte Carlo method, you want to play the game out into the perhaps to the end. So you need two different styles to play there. So they have two neural nets. These were trained by self-play. And if you want more information, you can find it in the Nature article. So I guess I have a few minutes. So I can look at some of the AlphaGo games, and I also have a Lucidol is arguably the strongest player. There's a young Chinese guy who thinks he's stronger because he defeated Lucidol more in tournament play. But Lucidol has been at the top for 10 years, and he's right in his prime. But these games were played very well by Lucidol. He didn't make mistakes. What happened was that things happened that it would not be considered a mistake by human standards. He wasn't prepared for AlphaGo because AlphaGo played some games in October against Pon Lee, who was maybe the strongest player in Europe. He's a professional Shudan. And AlphaGo won all those games, but they were not. This is typical of the Monte Carlo programs, is that it's very easy to underestimate them because they know they're ahead. And you may not, a position may seem evil even to a human observer or player, but the Monte Carlo program has a better sense than you do of whether it's ahead or not. So they play very cautiously, and the play may therefore not be impressive. So Lucidol didn't know how strong AlphaGo was, and he played an unusual move right at the beginning. This move is not a standard opening move. Probably his reasoning was that he thought that maybe AlphaGo had a book, and the problem is to get out of the book. So you play a move that's a little bit standard, and AlphaGo cooperated by going Black built up the side. So now Black has to play lightly on the top and settle things, but Lucidol is good at that. This move is probably an overplay, and he might not have played it if he had realized at this point how strong AlphaGo was. So AlphaGo did this, and this move is also Black's chance to back off, but he didn't back off. And now that these Black stones are cut off, that's okay. Lucidol is perfectly capable of making life. Now White has been cut into three parts, and although black stones here are kind of in trouble. These stones are now perhaps settled, but these stones are potentially in trouble, and black can use that in order to make white. So after black goes this, white has to go back in hand. And black goes here, and at this point, to somebody like me, I look as if black has some danger that black stones still could die. But in fact, there's just enough potential in the situation that black can live. But white has gained some power on the left-hand side, and after this, neither player really made any mistakes. And when the smoke cleared at the end of the game, black, least of all, has made some territory down here, but white is getting territory on the top. And here, AlphaGo puts some moves that people would not pick up. So this is a very surprising and unusual move, but it's okay. And AlphaGo knows exactly how much it needs in order to win.